Morning, folks. Hope everyone's doing well on this beautiful morning. Sun's shining. It's still very cold out, but for early March, can't complain. Today I'm smoking my Clark's favorite. I love the beautiful orange there. I'm smoking the Sutliff 1M aromatic. It's actually a blend my friend gifted me last summer. We went on a camping trip, and we don't really get to smoke our pipes much together, so we brought our pipes and some tobacco along, and we were able to share some tobacco. At the time, I had some Colt Blood Red Moon, and he had some of his Sutliff blends that he had, so he really enjoyed those. I really enjoyed the Colt Blood Red Moon, and we wanted to gift those to each other, just as a nice thing to do. It's those rare moments of friendship and camaraderie that really make the day worth living, That was a nice trip. We went to the Merrimack Caverns. We went on a little bit of a rafting trip, so anyway. So in today's video, I wanted to start something that I think I want to start trying in my videos. As a librarian, I love sharing the books that I'm reading and the stories that I love with other people. And I wanted to make this channel a place where I can do the same with all you guys, but also talk about the fine tobaccos that we all love and the pipes and anything else. So not only do I want to share what I'm reading and do some reading, but I also want to I want to do some reading myself. I want to share the actual text with you and have this be a little bit of a story time. So, figured today's a good day to start that. I just hope you all enjoy it. Right now, I'm really challenging myself with material associated with Arthuriana and the Arthurian legend. Right now, I'm reading Sir Thomas Malory's Le Morte d'Arthur. Which is an anthology of sorts of all of the King Arthur legends and stories that were being passed around at the time. I believe this book was written in the 1400s. And this book is kind of the basis for everything we know about King Arthur. There were legends told and manuscripts written about Arthur, but none really collected the romance that I think this book did at the time. You might hear about this in English classes and other literature circles. This is work that's very important, especially in Arthurian literature. And so I've read a couple others so far that came before this, and this was really something that's always been on my list ever since hearing about it in a college literature class. So I'm delving into it now. I'm in book 2, but what I wanted to do was just read a little bit of something that I enjoyed from it. So I thought I'd do that this morning. So, to get on with it. Book 2 follows a man named Balin, who was a prisoner in King Arthur's court. However, in a tale before what I'm going to read you today, he kind of regains his honor with Arthur, and goes on an adventure here. And where we are at in the story is Balin one day came to Arthur's pavilion or tent, and just before he got there, there was a knight who rode by and was telling Arthur that he was just accosted. And so very frantically, he rides off. And after he rides off, Balin comes into King Arthur's tent, and King Arthur tells him, go follow that knight and see what's going on, basically. So Balin does, and Balin comes upon the knight who has just been slain and who is in the arms of his lover, his paramour. The woman here tells Balin that he was just slain by a knight invisible. Now, I don't think that we're talking about, a knight that's taken some kind of potion of invisibility or put on Harry Potter's cloak here. I think the invisible knight means that he is riding the countryside without his heraldry. He's not wearing any of the insignias of a knight. He looks like he is just like anyone else of regular blood, not noble blood. So anyway, he has slain this woman's lover, and it sounds like he really took advantage of him, maybe even killed him quietly and without really that much of an honorable fight. And so Balin takes this woman and tells her, that she will be avenged. And so as they're riding, they come upon this feast. So that's where I'll start. So we're going to start with chapter 14 of Le Morte d'Arthur, how Balin met with that knight named Garlon at a feast, and there he slew him to have his blood to heal therewith the son of his host. So let me light my pipe here, and we'll go ahead and start. Then they rode 3 or 4 days, and never met with adventure, they meaning the woman and Balin. And by hap they were lodged with a gentleman that was a rich man and well at ease. And as they sat at their supper, Balin overheard one complain grievously by him in a chair. What is this noise? Said Balin. Forsooth, said his host, I will tell you. I was but late at a jousting, and there I jousted with a knight that is brother unto King Pellam, and twice smote I him down, and then he promised to quit me on my best friend. And so he wounded my son. That cannot be whole till I have of that knight's blood, and he rideth always invisible. But I know not his name. Ah, said Balin, I know that knight, his name is Garlon. He hath slain 2 knights of mine in the same manner. Therefore I had liefer meet with that knight than all the gold in this realm, for the despite he hath done me. Well, said his host, I shall tell you. King Balin of Listanese hath made due cry in all this country a great feast that shall be within these 20 days, and no knight may come there but if he bring his wife with him, or his paramour. And that night, your enemy and mine, ye shall see that day. Then I behote you, said Balin, part of his blood to heal your son withal. "We will be forward to morn," said his host. So on the morn they rode all three toward Pelham, and they had 15 days' journey, or they came thither, and that same day began the great feast. And so they alighted and stabled their horses and went into the castle, but Balin's host may not be let in, because he had no lady. Then Balin was well received and brought into a chamber and unarmed him, and there were brought him robes to his pleasure, and would have had Balin leave his sword behind him. "Nay," said Balin, "that do I not, for it is the custom of my country, a knight always to keep his weapon with him, and that custom will I keep, or else I will depart as I came." Then they gave him leave to wear his sword, and so he went unto the castle, and was set among knights of worship, and his lady afore him. Soon Balin asked a knight, "Is there not a knight in this court whose name is Garlin?" "Yonder he goeth," said a knight, "he with the black face. He is the marvellous knight that is now living, for he destroyeth many good knights, for he goeth invisible." "Ah, well," said Balin, "is that he?" Then Balin advised him long, "If I slay him here, I shall not escape, and if I leave him now, peradventure, I shall never meet with him again at such a Stephen, and much harm he will do, and he live." Therewith this Garlin espied that this Balin beheld him, and then he came and smote Balin on the face with the back of his hand, and said, "Knight, why beholdest me so? For shame thereof, eat thy meat, and do that thou came for." "Thou sayest sooth," said Balin, "this is not the first despite that thou hast done me, and therefore I will do what I came for," and rose up fiercely, and clave his head to the shoulders. "Give me the truncheon," said Balin to his lady, "wherewith he slew your knight." Anon she gave it him, for always she bare the truncheon with her, and therewith Balin smote him through the body, and said openly, "With that truncheon thou hast slain a good knight, and now it sticketh in thy body." And then Balin called unto him his host, saying, "Now may ye fetch blood enough to heal your son withal." Then we go to chapter 15. How Balin fought with King Pelham, and his sword brake, and how he got a spear wherewith he smote the Dolorous Stroke. Anon all knights rose from the table for to set on Balin, and King Pelham himself arose up fiercely, and said, "Knight, hast thou slain my brother? Thou shalt die thereof, or thou depart." "Well," said Balin, "do it yourself." "Yes," said King Pelham, "there shall no man have no ado with thee but myself, for he the love of my brother." Then King Pelham caught in his hand a grim weapon, and smote eagerly at Balin. But Balin put the sword betwixt his head and the stroke, and therewith his sword burst in sunder. And when Balin was weaponless, he ran into a chamber for to seek some weapon, and so from chamber to chamber, and no weapon he could find, and always King Pelham after him. And at the last he entered into a chamber that was marvelously well dight and richly, and a bed arrayed with cloth of gold, the table of clean gold with 4 pillars, richest that might be thought, and one lying therein, and thereby stood a table of clean gold with 4 pillars of silver that bare up the table, and upon the table stood a marvelous spear strangely wrought. And when Balin saw that spear, he gat it in his hand, and turned him to King Pelham, and smote him passingly sore with that spear, that King Pelham fell down in a swoon. And therewith the castle roof and walls brake and fell to the earth, and Balin fell down so that he might not stir foot nor hand. And so the most part of the castle that was fallen down through that dolorous stroke lay upon Pelham and Balin 3 days. So that was chapter 14 and 15 of book 2 of Morte d'Arthur. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I think this is just it's a classic tale, but it's of a knight that I have never heard of. And I chose to give you guys the the most exciting part, I think, where Balin avenges his lady, but in doing so, kills her all the same. King Pellam almost gets the best of Balin, but Balin brings his sword up so that he can defend his life. The sword, doing him much service, defends his life, but breaks. And so here in chapter 15, we see Balin running through the castle, looking into different rooms, trying to find something to defend himself with, and finds the spear. The spear on a golden table in a very ornate room with legs of silver holding it, takes the spear and kills King Pellam with it. But in doing so, brings the entire castle down on their heads to kill the lady that he came to defend. It's fantastic. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back again with maybe more Le Morte d'Arthur, maybe some poetry, maybe a novel. Who knows? Just whatever I'm thinking at the time. Anyway, love you guys. Turn the page.